All right, a total solar eclipse passed over North America, putting on a dramatic show that was visible to millions of people across the continent.
Well, across Mexico, the US and Canada inside a ribbon of land stretching some 250 kilometers wide, but more than 6,000 kilometers long. Tens of millions of people craned their necks, tilted their heads to the sky and watched in wonder as the day turned to night. Revelers were engulfed in darkness at state parks, on city rooftops and in small towns.
Okay, now you can... Goodness. Okay, now we gotta... Okay, listen for the birds.
Whoa.
Oh my God, it was really amazing. Yeah, it was an experience I've never felt before. When it got totally dark, I literally was like screaming the whole time. I actually cried a little tear or two, because it was like overwhelming. It was an amazing experience.
In a total solar eclipse, the moon passes between the sun and earth, entirely covering the face of the sun along a small path of our planet's surface. This is called the path of totality.
The eclipse was first seen in Mazatlan, Mexico, on the country's western shores. Crowds gathered on the shore to watch the spectacle, underscored by a live orchestra's rendition of Star Wars themes.
A 1,000 kilometers away in America's Niagara Falls, sky watchers gazed upwards to watch the celestial display, the period of totality. It lasted a few minutes, but the crowds burst into cheers and applause when the eclipse reached totality.
That was magical. That was amazing. It was my second eclipse. It was her first, and neither of us have ever been to Niagara before. It was just incredible.
We've never, been to the falls, so that was like, just on its own beautiful to see. And, of course, having this experience, just made it a little bit extra special.
In the small town of Millerton in the U.S. state of Oklahoma, dozens of eclipse chasers watched nervously as clouds covered the skyline in the morning. But a break in clouds gave way to a stunning full total solar eclipse, and spectators cheered as they enjoyed the spectacle. Eclipse watchers said it was an indescribable event that captivated their attention all afternoon.
Yeah. And we don't have anything coming either.
Should be 10 minutes total.
10 more minutes?
10 more minutes.
Countdown. Okay.
I didn't expect that reaction from me. But yeah, I mean, you saw it. I was just I just started tearing up and I was like breathing really hard. It's like freaky because all of a sudden you can look right at the sun and it's just this beautiful ring. You saw the flares coming out of it. It was very overwhelming, more than I expected.
While for some the solar phenomenon was marked by a personal milestone, with hundreds of Americans either proposing or joining one of several mass wedding events across the path of totality. The out-of-sync darkness, it lasted up to 4 minutes 28 seconds. That's almost twice as long as it was during the US coast-to-coast eclipse 7 years ago, because the moon was closer to the earth.
Now, interestingly, it took just 1 hour 40 minutes for the moon's shadow to race more than 6,500 kilometers across the continent.
Dawn up there. What time is the exact?
It was just a moment where everything else goes away. You are really just, this is a corny thing to say, but one with nature. You are standing in a perfect line between the sun, the moon, and the earth. You are standing in the perfect place, in the perfect time to have what is, for me, like a lifetime experience. I will never forget that moment.
Total solar eclipses happen somewhere around the world every 11 to 18 months, but they don't often cross paths with millions of people. The US last got a taste in 2017 and won't again see a coast-to-coast spectacle until 2044.
And of course, Shivan, thousands of reactions that have been pouring in, people sharing their experiences, saying that they were one with nature. And in fact, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York as well. Let's listen to this.
Spectators saw the moon block out the sun from more than a dozen states across the United States. While here in New York City, we had a partial eclipse that didn't stop the locals from picking their viewing spots and parties and gathering at their local parks for an unobstructed view of what for many may be a once-in-a-lifetime activity. Upstate New York had the best view, and by Niagara Falls, hotels were reserved months in advance. And New Yorkers we talked to said that at a time when the country is so divided, not only politically, but also as many face economic hardship, those few moments and the awe-inspiring wonder of nature were a welcome distraction to come together. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.